Welcome, everyone, back to the Horror Channel. It has been quite some time since we have been here together. But no worries, I am back with a multi-part story, one that I feel that all of you will enjoy. The story shall be linked in the description if you choose to read along, or you can just listen. This story is called My Little Sister Disappeared 3 years ago. No one remembers her except me. This all started 3 years ago when I was 14. I am posting this now because I know 100% I am not crazy, that I wasn't imagining my little sister Zoe. I always wanted to be an older brother, ever since I could remember. When I was 7, that dream of mine finally came true. When my mum gave birth to a perfectly healthy and very real little girl. I tried my best to be the best big brother for Zoe, and I was always by her side growing up. We did everything together, and I loved her more than anything, which is making this situation even harder for me to handle. She disappeared when she was 7 years old. On a perfectly normal day, our family woke up, my parents made breakfast, I walked Zoe to school before I got on my way to mine. I dropped her off, and I still remember our last words together that day. "Bye-bye, Carrie Bear," she said to me with a huge smile on her face. "When will you stop calling me that stupid nickname?" I said jokingly back to her. "Anyways, you better hurry up to school, Zoe. Love you. Don't get in any trouble. I'll see you when I come to pick you up." That would be the last time I ever saw Zoe. I went through my school day with nothing out of the ordinary happening. I didn't pay any attention to any of my classes, and I was dozing off as usual. Before I knew it, classes were over, and I went to meet my friend Noah, who I always walked back from the school with. Noah always stuck around me for some reason, so he'd always come with me to pick up Zoe after school before we headed home. We were talking our usual route, and I started to turn into the street where my little sister's school was. "Yo, where are you going, man?" Noah asked me, confused. "What are you talking about?" "I'm going to pick up Zoe," I said. "Zoe?" He started to look even more confused. "Oh, yes. You know, my little sister. You always come with me to pick her up." I was starting to get a little bit annoyed. "The fuck are you talking about, dude? We never go down this way, and I've never heard of your little sister," he said. "Whatever, man. If you don't want to come with me today, that's fine. See you tomorrow, dude." I waved him bye, and he just looked at me with a confused stare. I walked towards my sister's school like I always had. I stepped outside the school, and I noticed right away that I couldn't see Zoe anywhere. There was still many more kids around, playing, waiting for their parents to be done talking to their friends, etc. So I was usually waiting in the playground on the swings right in front of the school. I was confused by this, and I wondered if my parents picked her up somehow, or she was brave and decided to walk home by herself today. I looked around a bit more, and with still no sign of her, I decided that she was probably home by now. I started to feel sick to my stomach. Something was giving me a really bad feeling. I was on the brink of having an anxiety attack, and I started sprinting to my house. I barged in. My parents were standing in the kitchen drinking coffee. They looked at me, confused. "What's wrong, Karan?" my mom asked me. "Where the hell is Zoe?" I asked out of breath. "Zoe?" my dad asked, looking confused. My heart sank, the same reaction as Noah. "Yes, Zoe! Your 7-year-old daughter! My sister, for fuck's sake!" I yelled at them, beginning to panic. "Calm down, and don't use that language with me. You've always been an only child. We have never had a daughter, and I'm pretty sure we would remember if we had one." "What is going on with you?" my mum replied. I started feeling dizzy. I had enough. I bolted out of the house crying and screaming. Was I crazy? Did I not have a sister this entire time? What the fuck was going on? I remembered hearing my parents calling after me as I stumbled along the sidewalk. I ignored them. I blacked out soon after. I woke up in a hospital the next day, with my parents next to me. According to the doctors, I fell too hard on the sidewalk and was knocked unconscious. It didn't take me too long to come to my senses again once I woke up. So, I started to go into hysterics again, screaming for my little sister to come back, screaming at something, anything to bring her fucking back to us. Karan, everything is okay. We're here for you now, calm down, my mum said, trying to comfort me, obviously terrified of me screaming for a daughter that she didn't even remember existed. My dad stared at me with an equally terrified, almost disgusted look. I forced myself to calm down, which was nearly impossible. My mind was still screaming for Zoe. The hatred I had for my parents and everyone for not remembering my sister at that moment was immeasurable. My parents drove me home, and there was nothing but silence. When we got home, they sat me down and bombarded me with questions about who the hell I was talking about. But I knew it was pointless to say anything, so I kept quiet. I didn't talk, eat, or sleep at all that night. The next morning, on no sleep, I snuck out of the house to run to my sister's school. When I got there, I barged inside, only looking for one sign: office. I once again barged into the office loudly and went to the secretary's desk. She was looking at me with the same look of fucking confusion in her eyes. I grew to hate that with a passion. So, Callister, I said to the secretary. Excuse me, she said, out with just as confused. Zoe Callister, where is she? I yelled at the secretary with desperation. She looked at me terrified, and the kids and the other staff in the office looked just as scared. I realized that I probably looked insane. Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell. But do you know where my sister Zoe Callister is? She goes to the school. I asked with tears welling in my eyes. I'm so sorry, but there is no one at this school. I slammed the desk. Yes, there fucking is, for fuck's sake, and you better tell me where she is right now, I screamed at her. This was the point where the school security barged in to hold me. I gave in, just wanting to disappear into nothingness and die. This behavior needs to stop right now, Karan, and I'm not joking. This is beyond ridiculous, my dad scolded me. Sweetheart, we love you, but we hate to see you like this. You've never in your life had a sister, Karan. You have to stop doing this, my mom said, and a bit more gently. We decided that we were going to put you into counseling, my dad said, cutting it to the chase. I just stared at the ground, knowing that saying anything to retort would get me nowhere, and I grudgingly agreed to be put into counseling. Fast forward 3 years, and I had mostly accepted my sister's disappearance, though I didn't believe for 1 second that she never existed. My parents became more and more distasteful towards me as I sunk into depression and went into a life full of drugs and alcohol. I would still go to those pointless therapy sessions that didn't get me anywhere. There was nothing in this world that could convince me that I was just a fucking imagining my sister. One evening, when the sun was setting, I was going on a walk in a part of the forest that I wasn't familiar with. I did not feel like going back home anytime soon. I took another swig of the vodka bottle that was in my hand. This was when I saw something that made my heart skip a beat. Laying there, under the leaves, was a stuffed animal I immediately recognized. So, I immediately thought to myself again. I ran as fast as I could and uncovered the stuffed animal. As I thought, it was a pink teddy bear that I had gave Zoe for her 5th birthday. I remembered something that I did back when I got this for her, and I immediately turned the bear over and opened the tag that was still attached to the back. To Zoe, from Care Bear.